Number 22, Arizona State. They are going to make the field trip to Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah, to take on the Utah Utes. Now, when you guys think about Arizona State, what do you guys think about? You probably haven't given Arizona State too much thought since they had that last second loss to Mississippi State. They fell out of the top 25, I think, shortly after that game happened. Well, this is a team in the midst of conference play and all that has started to find its footing a little bit. This is a team that, was able to, has played two quality opponents, a 4-2 Baylor, as well as a 4-1 TCU. Beat both of them. One of them on the road. They were close games, but they found a way to pull it out in close environments. They also played Texas State, and Texas State, I know, not a member of the Big 12, going to be a member of the Pac-12 next year, the rebirthed Pac-12, and beat them pretty convincingly too, 34-15. So they've been under the radar the last month since they lost Mississippi State, but make no sense, they've played against quality opponents, and they definitely earned the right to be ranked once again inside this top 25, coming in ranked number 22 in the nation, and playing in closely, tightly contested games really serves Arizona State extremely well. That could prove dividends as they take on yet another quality team in this Utah squad. And the same could be said about Utah, who fell off the radar just a little bit, right? When's the last time that you probably sat down and lost Utah? Last game you probably watched of them was them losing to Texas Tech, and it was a 34-10 loss. So if you just take a look at the box score, that Utah game looks extremely ugly. But outside of the Utah game, outside of that Texas Tech game, they've been dominant in every game that they played in. They blown out UCLA, for example, which you could say what you want about UCLA. Not everybody can beat UCLA, apparently, so that's something to note. They've also dominated Wyoming on the road, and they've dominated West Virginia. So more of the big question for them is, we're going to figure out almost like a twofold question when it comes to Utah. Can Utah scale upward? Because they were, even though it looks like a blowout against Texas Tech, they were very competitive with them for 3 to 3.5 quarters. It was a very closely, tightly contested game. Texas Tech did end up pulling late, but Utah had a very closely contested game, much closer than what the score indicates. But can they scale upwards playing against top competition? And we're going to find that out from Utah this week against Arizona State. We're going to find that out next week when they go on the road against BYU. That could be another top 25 game that we preview sometime this week. It's just, can they scale up? It will also give us a little bit more insight into Texas Tech, right? Texas Tech, right now, sitting in our top 8, I think they have a real argument to be a top 5 team. Did Texas Tech benefit from, maybe it was Utah overrated? Because Texas Tech really hasn't played a ton of competition outside of the confines of their own conference. Houston, looked to be a solid team. But we're going to really see what this Utah team is all about. And, this game is happening at home. So, with that said, we think their offensive line is going to be good. We've seen them play really well. Can they scale it upward? That's going to be the million-dollar question, and what's going to be a night game out in Utah. So, with that said, let's check what the model thinks. Considering we have two teams that have questions that they need to answer, and they both need to revalidate themselves. Right now, Utah, according to FanDuel, is a 5.5-point favorite as I started recording this. Model is a little bit higher. Utah is an 8-point favorite. So, honestly, for me, like in the majority of Big 12 games, it seems like, this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a competitive game. You know what really matters in close games, at least in my opinion? Experience and continuity. We talked about this a lot in the preseason, but Arizona State, they come in back with all of this returning production. But it's not just the fact that this returning production because of like a state, just because of, you don't have to like reinstall the playbook. But Arizona State not only is a more experienced team than Utah, but they have more experience in working together as a team. Whereas, Utah, they had to get a brand new offensive coordinator. They brought in a brand new quarterback. They brought in other pieces. Whereas Arizona didn't have to do that because they had their core starting team back on campus. Which I know it's not the preseason, but why that matters is when it gets really close in the fourth quarter, that experience and continuity and leadership, those more intangible qualities really matter. And when it comes to experience, when it comes to continuity, when it comes to leadership, all those things matter. And Arizona has the edge in all three components, in my opinion. So, candidly, I don't care that this game is happening in Utah, in what's truly an amazing home environment. If you have a chance to go to a Utah home football game, do it. It is a electric environment, and they support their team regardless of how good or bad things get. But I think because of that continuity advantage, because of that experience advantage, and arguably that leadership advantage, I think Arizona State actually finds a way to pull this off. And pull, at least according to the betting markets, an upset. According to our top 25, not so much. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to not only say that Arizona State covers against Utah, but I think they actually win outright. I'm going to go with Arizona State winning 31-28. I think that's going to end up being your final score. It will be a really competitive game. Again, if this is a blowout in either direction, I would genuinely be shocked. I think this is going to go down to the fourth quarter. But I think Arizona State finds a way to pull it out at the same time. And I'm going with the Sun Devils winning 31-28. And will be probably one of the last college football games to go final for our Week 7 experience.